Shocking truth. Can geography drive the Indo-China dispute or fix it? Welcome back to Tube Geo, the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of geography and its profound impact on global events. Today we're exploring one of the most complex and enduring conflicts of our time, the Indo-China border dispute. Can geography drive this conflict, or can it be the key to preventing it? To truly understand the Indo-China border dispute, we must travel back in time to the roots of these two great civilizations. India and China are among the oldest continuous cultures in the world. India with its Indus Valley civilization and China with its ancient dynasties have both shaped human history for thousands of years. Historically, the civilizations of India and China were linked by the ancient Silk Road, both overland and maritime. It was a vast network of trade routes that connected the Indian subcontinent with the Chinese heartland. The network of roads extended through Persia to the Mediterranean. The overland routes traversed the rugged terrains of the Himalayas, passed through the arid deserts of Central Asia, and crossed the fertile plains of the Tarim Basin, ultimately reaching the bustling markets of Chang'an, modern-day Xi'an. Camel caravans transported silk, spices, precious stones, and other luxury goods. The maritime routes navigated the Indian Ocean, hugging the coastlines of Southeast Asia, passing through the strategic Strait of Malacca, and extending to the prosperous port cities along the eastern coast of China. These routes facilitated not only the exchange of goods such as silk, spices, and precious stones, but also the flow of ideas, art, culture, and scientific knowledge between the two great civilizations. The monsoon winds facilitated regular sea voyages, making the exchange of goods and ideas between these civilizations a regular and ongoing process. Yet despite these vibrant exchanges, the towering Himalayas and dense forests acted as formidable natural barriers. These geographical obstacles limited large-scale interactions and kept the two civilizations relatively isolated from each other's direct political influence. Fast forward to the colonial era, the 19th and early 20th century saw European powers carving up Asia, drawing borders with little regard for historical or cultural realities. The British established direct colonial rule over India in 1858. They restructured the Indian subcontinent, focusing on maximizing economic exploitation. Infrastructure projects such as the railways and telegraph lines primarily served British commercial interests. Part of this colonial strategy involved defining and securing borders. The British were particularly concerned about Russian expansion, a fear known as the Great Game. This led to the demarcation of the McMahon Line in 1914, drawn to separate British India from Tibet. However, this boundary was not negotiated with China, which later rejected it as illegitimate. The McMahon Line was meant to safeguard British strategic interests, but it disregarded the complex ethnic and cultural tapestries of the region. Meanwhile, in China, the collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1912 led to a period of fragmentation and civil war. The early 20th century saw the rise of nationalist movements aiming to end foreign dominance and internal strife. Sun Yat-sen and later the Kuomintang sought to unify China and expel foreign powers, including the British and French, who had carved out spheres of influence and controlled key ports through unequal treaties. World War II further altered the geopolitical landscape. Japan's invasion of China in the 1930s and subsequent occupation during the war intensified China's nationalist sentiments and weakened European colonial control in Asia. After the war, the decolonization process accelerated, leading to the withdrawal of European powers, but leaving behind a legacy of contentious borders and unresolved territorial disputes. In Southeast Asia, the French had established their own colonial empire known as French Indochina, which included modern-day Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The boundaries drawn by the British and French in Asia were often at odds with historical and cultural realities. Traditional boundaries based on natural features, linguistic groups, and cultural regions were replaced with straight lines on maps, often decided in far-off European capitals. This created artificial nations and divided ethnic groups, planting the seeds of future disputes. The McMahon Line, never accepted by China, remains a major point of contention. The disputed territories, including Chin and Arunachal Pradesh, continue to be flashpoints for military standoffs and diplomatic tensions between India and China. Tensions boiled over in 1962, leading to the Sino-Indian War. The brief but intense conflict resulted in China seizing control of Aksai Chin, a strategic plateau, and the war leaving deep scars and entrenched mistrust between the two nations. In 1967, further clashes at Nathu La and Shou La reinforced the adversarial relationship. Both nations continued to fortify their borders, preparing for the next inevitable standoff. Throughout the late 20th century, diplomatic efforts to resolve the border disputes saw limited success. The 1993 and 1996 agreements aimed to maintain peace along the line of actual control, but skirmishes and standoffs persisted. The most recent and severe confrontation started on the night of June 15, 2020. A violent face-off occurred between India and Chinese troops at the Galwan Valley located in the Ladakh region. This confrontation, fought without firearms due to prior agreements, involved brutal hand-to-hand combat. The incident was the first deadly clash between the two countries in over 4 decades and dramatically escalated tensions. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi faced significant public and political pressure to respond decisively, leading to calls for economic and strategic countermeasures against China. On the Chinese side, President Xi Jinping reiterated China's stance on defending its territorial claims. The Chinese government maintained that the Galwan Valley was part of its sovereign territory and accused Indian troops of crossing the line of actual control. In response to the clash, both nations engaged in a series of high-level military and diplomatic talks aimed at de-escalating the situation. These negotiations, however, have been fraught with challenges. India demanded the restoration of the status quo ante, seeking the withdrawal of China troops to positions held before the standoff began in April 2020. China, on the other hand, insisted on India's responsibility for the incursion and sought to solidify its claims through further fortifications. The Galwan Valley clash underscored the strategic importance of the region. Both India and China have since ramped up their military presence, with satellite imagery revealing extensive buildup of troops, artillery, and infrastructure on both sides of the LAC. The construction of roads, airstrips, and bunkers highlights the ongoing militarization of the disputed border areas. Following the clash, India took several economic measures against China. The Indian government banned numerous Chinese apps, citing national security concerns and imposing restrictions on Chinese investments. Trade statistics indicated a decline in bilateral trade, reflecting the growing economic decoupling. The public sentiment in India also has put pressure on the Indian government to adopt a tougher stance against China. It doesn't seem like a battle of equals, though. China has emerged as a global economic powerhouse. The dragon is enhancing its global influence through infrastructure projects across Asia, including regions close to China through its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Furthermore, China is at the forefront of manufacturing, often referred to as the world's factory, producing a significant portion of global consumer goods. In technology, China leads in areas such as 5G, high-speed rail, and renewable energy. Its advancements in artificial intelligence are world-class, with Chinese companies and research institutions making significant strides in AI development and deployment. Militarily, China has rapidly modernized its armed forces, investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies and expanding its naval capabilities, asserting its presence in strategic areas like the South China Sea. This multifaceted growth underscores China's rising status as a global superpower. Its comprehensive edge in manufacturing technology, AI, and military power enables it to exert considerable dominance over India. However, India is actively taking steps to contain China's influence and assert its own standing. Economically, India is promoting initiatives like Made in China to boost domestic manufacturing and reduce dependency on Chinese imports. Technologically, India is investing its own tech startups and advancing in fields such as information technology and space exploration. Diplomatically, India is strengthening alliances with other major powers such as the United States, Japan, and Austria through frameworks like the Quad, aiming to counterbalance China's regional dominance. Militarily, India is modernizing its armed forces and enhancing its strategic capabilities, including expanding its naval presence in the Indian Ocean. Despite these competitive measures, there remains a question. Can geography offer a path to peace? Both nations share interests in regional stability, economic growth, and tackling common challenges like climate change. Collaborative efforts in these areas could pave the way for improved relations, highlighting the potential for cooperation amidst rivalry. Track 2 diplomacy, academic exchanges, and people-to-people connections play a crucial role in building mutual understanding. Joint military exercises and confidence-building measures could also help reduce the risk of accidental escalations. The majestic Himalayas, while a symbol of division, also hold the potential for unity. Shared environmental concerns such as glacial melting and river management necessitate cooperation. Sustainable development in these fragile regions could become a cornerstone for peace. Geography has indeed driven the Indo-China border dispute, shaping the conflict's physical and strategic dimensions. Yet it also holds the key to resolution. With this, we wrap up the video. Thank you for watching Tube Geo. If you found this video insightful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the geopolitical controversies. What are your thoughts on the Indo-China border dispute? Can geography help fix it? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.